Ahoy! New World's new patch comes with some changes that weren't really documented, as well as some issues that I think are worth talking about, because it changes some farming that you want to do, especially also when it comes to artifacts on PvP track, and some mitigation changes. So lots that is happening that I want to break down for you. The first thing that was noticed by Parkuit on Reddit was that you no longer get doubloons from stockpiles and urns in Cutlass Keys, only from the elite chests. This one is kind of debated. I think some people think that it's good, and I kinda definitely see where they're coming from, in the sense that it should kind of force you to mostly get those from the PvP zone, and I guess this is a way for them to try and revive the PvP zone a little bit. On the other hand, it's obviously very frustrating that it was different for so long, and there was this entire pathway that was developed just to farm these doubloons, only for them to now be taken away. So pros and cons, but I guess you can go for these spectral chests now as well, which I think are in the PvP zone. So that's an option to get some more doubloons as well. Yeah, really a give and take here. I personally think it is okay that this was changed. I wish they would have just done it from the start instead. Next, there is a bug, probably not an intended change, to resistances at the moment. This was discovered by a comfortable cow on Reddit. This one effectively means if you're using an amulet with any form of protection, that protection won't actually apply. At least that's the case for me. Some people are saying it's still 5%. I think they're just looking at the gems. I'm pretty sure you're just not getting that protection value, or at least it's not showing up in the total resistances tooltip. So this is probably not working. This may be less noticeable for some of you if you're still running an old expedition loadout for M3s, because you would effectively end up with around 50% mitigation, which is the new cap anyways. So for this particular specific change, it may not really matter yet, but it definitely matters, especially for PvP or for people that are already changing up their loadouts. So I hope that this is just a visual indication thing. I'm assuming it might actually be functioning that way though, because I would assume those damage resistant values, that the way that they are displayed, means they're actually what you get. If you're enjoying the video so far and you want to get early trading tips for the new patch, I just posted one of those on my Patreon, so feel free to support me there. And also, I'm streaming the new PvP server on Twitch TV/DukeSloth, so if you want to stop by, if you want to see me grind that out a little bit, then feel free to pop over there. Links in the description. BSW on Reddit reported that the PvP track is a massive buff compared to what it used to be. Getting Nimble Code on level 71, Anchor on level 72, Pestilence on 73, and Freedom on 74, always at the third point of the track. And other people are confirming that they have a similar experience. So it seems that now it's a ridiculously high chance to get the artifacts past level 50. Musical, however, pointed out that it's apparently an almost 100% chance to get an artifact from track 50 to 100, but then above 100 it goes back to 2%, except in the ones that end with 4 or 9, where it's a 100% chance to get an artifact. So the whole thing, very, very messy. It might be that the value between 50 and 100 is actually overtuned now, and they might not have intent for that to happen. I don't know what exactly their goal is. It looks like at least it's going somewhat in the right direction. You will see artifacts more often overall. And hopefully they can iron out the specifics of that and how much you're exactly going to get in the future. Something else that is new in this patch that I learned about from Mr. Mojito is the recipe for O Malley. So this is a recipe that increases your territory infection reputation by 50%. And apparently also has other side effects that I don't know about yet, but what we know is that it comes from provision crates, and there is a content requirement of level 60, and along with that it's also contained in the packages of specialized cooking materials and all the other trade skill related caches that you can get. So quite a few options to get that. The recipe itself gives you 3 O Malley for 2 garlic, 2 paprika, 6 cheese, 4 milk, and 6 pasta. So overall relatively easy to craft as well. Should be worth it for quite a few situations, unless those side effects are any major downsides that we don't know about yet. And then another thing that we can talk about here is the blunderbuss. So Yidis says that the Blunderbuss aimlock is still a problem, and other people are confirming the same thing. So they increased the spread or inaccuracy of the blunderbuss when you are target locked on the player specifically, and then they reversed the nerf that they previously did to the damage scaling. And it seems that at closer ranges, at close to mid-range, the blunderbuss hits very consistently, and it just starts missing at mid-range to further away, missing like 4 to 6 at its maximum usable range. So it's making the blunderbuss weaker against ranged players, but that's not really where the blunderbuss was ever particularly good in the first place. The blunderbuss is particularly good at this mid to close range, where it's still going to hit everything. And that is because the blunderbuss is a hit scan weapon, and as a hit scan weapon, you're just not going to miss if you're close enough and you have an automatic tracking of the enemy that is in front of you. So effectively against melee players you're getting a damage buff in form of the reversal of the previous damage nerf. So how I originally understood it was that they wanted to make it so that a percentage of the pellets just has a chance to miss. So that every pellet just has a 80% hit chance and sometimes just misses. And instead they went with this inaccuracy effect, which just doesn't seem to work well in combination with how aimlock works and with hit scan. So I would hope that they are tweaking this further, and as far as we can tell, so far I haven't been able to personally test this, but as far as we can tell, the blunderbuss will still be kind of in the same place as before, if not better, unless you was for some reason using the blunderbuss primarily to chase range player at longer distances. And there is also another issue that is unrelated to hit scan when it comes to the controllers with the projectile magnetism. This is something that I'm not sure how much it affects the blunderbuss because it's a hit scan weapon, but I would assume, so it basically doesn't have a projectile in that sense, but I would assume it still has an effect there anyways, which makes it so that attacks that shouldn't hit have a chance to still hit as long as you're using a controller. Again, I will discuss this in a separate video in the future, but in the files, projectile magnetism is enabled for the blunderbuss. If it works is another question, but it is at least enabled, so I think it'll work to some degree. And that is the overview of some of the things that we're seeing at the moment. When there's more, I will of course let you know, so consider subscribing and clicking the bell. And again, if you want to see more, twitch.tv/DukeSloth for the new PvP server, and Patreon if you want to support me further and get early trading tips. Thanks to my patrons for doing exactly that, and thank you for watching. DukeSloth, out.